Being an amputee, it's a great feeling. You have that, that mobility and freedom that you don't technically have on land.
At first glance, Cuba's Guantanamo Bay, located 400 miles southeast of Miami, appears to be like any other tropical dive destination. However, one look around assures us that this is anything but your traditional Caribbean getaway. The naval station in Guantanamo Bay, Gitmo for short, is nestled amidst a rugged desert terrain and surrounded by turquoise seas.
A lot of times you hear about bad things that happen down here just because that's what a lot of the media focuses on, because that's what sells. I think the fact that we're actually getting to come down here and see some of these sites it's a tremendous honor.
The naval base, staffed by the military's Joint Task Force, has been making headlines due to the controversies regarding its detainment camps, as well as the treatment of its approximately 270 detainees. But that's not why we're here, and this is a side of Gitmo that the majority of the world does not get to see. A pristine underwater environment serves as the backdrop for the astonishing and demanding journey of 6 wounded warriors in their bid for recovery after their lives had been drastically altered by the conflicts in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Well, I started working on this trip about 1 year ago, in February of 2007, and to finally be here and to see how far we've come and what we've accomplished, it's mind-blowing. Believe me, I've had a few sleepless nights over this. We really didn't know, what we had. We hadn't been tested. They've been in the pool, but we worked really hard with them, and they put a lot of effort in. And to come out here and actually see them do these dives and get certified, it's very special.
There's so much down there, so much of everything. Every direction you look, there's something else, and it was great. It's an incredible experience.
I was in Fallujah, Iraq. We were doing SNAP BCPs. We were picking up vehicles. We got back in our Humvee, went to take off, did a turnaround, and got hit by an IED. Killed 2 of my Vic. My gunner lost his right leg. He's at Walter Reed with me. And then my driver actually walked out unscathed and finished out the tours. I had obviously a double amputation. I have 32 pins in my hip. I broke my pelvis in half, so I have a 6-inch screw. I broke my jaw, I broke my nose, I had lacerated kidney, I broke 4 fingers, so I recovered well. Can't complain.
Josh is a bilateral double amputee, and we've got a special rig for him. We've got these swim legs that he uses, and he's able to do the dives just like anybody else. He was doing fine by using the web gloves and that method, but I noticed he was going through his air more quickly than some of the others. So I approached him about getting a pair of swim legs. In the beginning, I think he was a little hesitant to use that setup. It does look a little awkward, but it works phenomenal.
I never tried diving before this, so I think even just giving me the opportunity, the idea to try this, really had a lot of doors open, amongst strategy, a lot of blessings happened. I can't do the same things I did before, but still anything you choose to do, you can still achieve. You just set your mind to it. But the scuba is definitely one that allows you to really to perform. As soon as you get down there, it's just like a peaceful time, and it just opened up once you got out there. So there's just a ton to see. I could spend. Unfortunately, I suck my air, so I can't spend all day out there. But yeah, it was beautiful. The only thing I've ever dove in was a 4-foot pool, so it's a lot different.
Different for all involved, as it's not every day that a combination of Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, and even the FBI escort you on your dives. The Joint Task Force at Guantanamo granted clearance for the soldiers to dive restricted, limited-access beaches, which produce some of the most spectacular diving and, of course, bountiful sea life.
All of the dives have been memorable, but really the sea life down there is incredible. You see things that are just moving through the water. We saw a ray, we saw an octopus and an eel, just things that you'd never see. Having a prosthetic leg is tough on the body. You're putting a lot of extra stress on joints, on all kinds of the body that other people normally wouldn't. And underwater, that goes away. You know, you're just kind of hovering there and weightless. One of the great things about diving is how graceful I can feel underwater, and that's something that's just not possible on land. Being underwater is, that's for me. I'm so comfortable down there, you know, looking around. It's so peaceful, so tranquil. Just enjoying the beauty of what's around me.
If you think about 5 feet of fresh water versus an open ocean overnight, it's the same. They're nailing all their skills. They're perfectly comfortable in the water. They've got that military can-do type attitude. It humbles you. I mean, it just really kind of gets you centered and makes you feel lucky. Because we're learning as they're learning. This is new to us, just as it's new to them. So every event, every dive, we try to get behind the scenes and critique so we can learn and get better.
I stepped on a crush wire IED on a patrol, and so I lost my arm and my leg. One of my biggest fears after I was injured is that I wouldn't be able to swim anymore. And then after I got in the pool, I found out that I swam just as well after being injured as I did before I was. I've always been in the mindset that if you go in expecting something to scare you or something like that, then you're going to find something to scare you. If you go in, you just kind of calm and just going to have fun, you're going to have a good time, and that's what happened.
We just had our second dive towards an advanced rating with Shane. And trying to stick to the standards, we come up and he gets to the surface and he's smiling. He says, "I still have air." So he wanted to go diving. So we just went back down and blew out some more air. And he's to where he's so comfortable in the water, he just wants to stay there. And that's really pretty cool.
The last thing we want to do is rehab them, send them home, and all they do is sit on the couch all day. We want to make sure that they're able to get out there and do everything that they want to do, and not be afraid to try on new challenges.
The disability shouldn't stop anybody from doing what people without disability can do. I'm that type of person who never thinks that I can't do it. I always try. And if I fall, for example, I'll get up and I'll do it again. Every person who asks me, like, "Oh, does it stop you, or you feel less of the person because I don't have a leg?" What I tell them, I probably can run better than you, and or do things that you haven't even done before.
For anyone who's been injured, if they're worried that they're not going to be able to have a normal life, it's not true. There's so much you can still get out there and do. It's unbelievable.
Just the feeling of weightlessness. You don't have some of the aches and pains under there that you do walking on land and in sand and rocks and up and down stairs. So yeah, it takes that away. So it's really it does give you a little bit more freedom.
I think the biggest disfavor we could do these guys is to teach them how to dive and then walk away from them.
Guantanamo Bay, more synonymous with detainees on the inside and Castro on the outside, also tells of a story which transcends the reputation of its surroundings, courtesy of a dive instructor with a vision.
I saw squid right up here, a whole group of them.
I saw a barracuda that kind of came over and was checking me and Pat out. First saw him, he was perfectly still.
Just talk to a soldier after a dive, and it becomes evident the powerful role scuba diving plays in the recovery process. John Thompson and his team are changing lives in an unlikely location, one dive at a time.
Who gets to say they've been diving in Cuba, especially if you're an American?